on. We're not talking about bras and panties.
But you never know.
But you never know. We are having a conversation about seeing life as an experiment and what comes your way and what might you try on just to see how it fits, and not taking everything so seriously all the time. And this is something that Kim and I, we talk about often, that it's really fun to look at life as an experiment instead of it being so serious as something like you have to execute well, you have to get it right, you have to figure it all out, there has to be all the answers. And what if we could have that sprinkle of playfulness and instead look at it as like, it's an experiment. My life's an experiment. My everything that I interact with is an experiment. Let me try it on. Let me go into the corporate world and see what happens. Will I like it? Will I not? Will I do well? Will I not? And so that can be big things in life, and it can also just be the little things as you're going through life day to day.
Like a bra.
Like a bra. Try her on. Does it fit? And we really look at healing, coaching, energy modalities in the same way, that we're not rigid about them. We're like, try it on, see if it fits. If it does, we might keep it, we might tweak it, we might stay with it for a while, we might move on from it, or we might stay with it a long time, right? So this is a whole conversation about trying things on.
And bringing your own style into it, whatever it is. So yeah. And so, yeah, the experiment piece, I know what we've talked about that before, and it's such an awesome concept, because when I look at everything as an experiment, whether I'm baking a cake or teaching a class or whatever it is, if we can look at it as an experiment, that gives us permission on some level that we don't have to get it right, and that's okay. It's not about getting it right or wrong, as you said. It's about, okay, that didn't work. Now what? Okay, I thought that would be cool, and it isn't. Now what? And so that is the experiment, which is great. It's the same kind of thing as trying it on. It is the same thing as trying it on. And if it fits, like you said, great. If it doesn't, maybe you can tweak it, or maybe it's just no, yeah, that was a no for me. It's like, when you were a kid and your parents said, here, try this. And you're like, ooh, it's liver. Yeah, but try it. It's really good. And you're like, no, it's ugly and it's liver. And you try it and it's like, and so you try, that was an experiment. It wasn't a rightness or a wrongness word. That's how we get to know, ooh, I love this. That's how we get to have more awareness about what works for us and what doesn't. So there's also a courage to trying something on and experimenting with stuff. So we were told, this is good for you, try it. No, it's liver. So the willingness to have the courage to do something new without being attached to the outcome, because you don't know the outcome. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. So we're not attached to it. Yeah, we hope it's all like, unicorns and white light being blown up our butt. We hope it's all that kind of stuff. And it might be. But when we have the courage to try it anyway, so we're not attached to the outcome, we're just curious about the outcome and the courage to actually go for it. If we don't have the courage to go for it, no matter what it is, then we stay the same, and we stay we stay the same. We don't grow, we don't expand, we don't stretch our capacity, if you will. I love that language. We don't get to stretch our capacity because we're like, oh, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Okay, stay there then. Okay, I'll eat hot dogs and mashed potatoes for the rest of my life because I'm not willing to try anything else, right? And so it's kind of like that. So the courage, that's where our power is, isn't it? Like, don't you think? Like our power lies in our courage to try something on, to try something new, to experiment without thinking that if I get it wrong, I failed. No, if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, either it might not be for you. You can put it away for now. Doesn't mean it's not for you forever. Or maybe you need more salt on that piece of liver. So maybe you just tweak it and make it yours. Ooh, I did not have any idea that's where this conversation was going to go, but I love it.
A lot of food references. To make us hungry. I love that you brought in that courage piece, because it really is, it takes the pressure off when you look at something as an experiment or trying it on, instead of, okay, I got to get this right. It has to be the one. I remember when I started on my healing, self-development, whatever you want to call it, journey. And I remember every time I'd come across a new modality, I'd think, this is the one. This is the one that's going to save me and heal me. And right, this is going to be the modality. And I had this thought, or I'd come across like, healers or coaches or facilitators, and I'd be like, they are the one. And I'd think, okay, I'm going to invest in this because it's going to be the one. And then it would be a piece. And so I learned that I had to take the pressure off of the modality, of the person, of the program, whatever it was.
And yourself.
And myself. And it's like, okay, this is a whole journey of evolution, a whole journey of becoming. And there are pieces from all of it that are very relevant, and maybe not, but for the most part, there's something in everything for me. You can usually find something. And so let me try it on. Let me try this modality. Let me try this facilitator. Let me try this, read this book. I'll glean what I can. I'll try it on, and I'll, leave what doesn't work for me. Some of it may stay with me through my journey. Some of it might just stay for a chapter and then move on. But it really takes the pressure off of everything having to be the one solution and of having to get it all right away. And I love that you brought in that courage piece, Kim, because courage is so key. We're so afraid of getting it wrong. We're so afraid of judgment. We're so afraid of the unknown. And it can be fear of a conversation. It can be fear of just taking small steps towards something. And looking at where our fear lies, if we can really change the mindset of, okay, I'm going to have this conversation, but I'm just going to try it on. I'm just going to try on this approach in this conversation. I'm just going to try that approach until we find the one that clicks. It really, I feel like it just it takes all the pressure off and allows it to become more fun and fluid.
Way more ease. And you know what? As you're talking, one of the ways that you and I do this beautifully is every time we do a podcast, right? We don't have it mapped out. I had somebody reach out to me and say, wow, you're not even reading it from notes. No, we just have a conversation. We just have a 5-minute, hey, what do you want to talk about before we come on to these things? Oh, let's talk about this. Okay, are there any points that we want? Let's just see where it's going to go. And so we are willing to have the courage to get on here and not have a clue, where it's going to go, but we allow it to take on a life of its own, and it does. And so we're not attached to, there might be like, oh my God, look at how Try It On works with life being an experiment. And wow, that takes a lot of courage, right? And so as we play in that courage of just trying it on, that expands our capacity. Like, I love where that all went. And if we had it all mapped out, we just tried it on. We were like, let's talk about this. Okay, let's go. And so, I hadn't looked at that until just now as, I don't know if the word courage matches it for me, though. I guess it does, because, you and I have both worked with, and then different people who, if they didn't have it mapped out, there's no way they could show up. And so it's interesting because often we don't recognize our own so-called gifts because they're so natural to us. So it's like, that's so natural for us. We don't even recognize it as a gift. So Veronica, I want to say to you, you have courage, woman. I love your courage.
As to you, my friend.
So yeah, it's funny how we don't even acknowledge things like that as a gift, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Just to let it come through and see what shows up. It does take courage. Not have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And the reason that we even thought about talking about this topic is because we shared.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Brace yourselves. Get out the popcorn. In the last episode, we shared about how our name is changing. Our podcast name is changing. And so we shared the new name at the end of the call. And then
we tried it on.
Just trying it on. And then all of a sudden, new names were coming through. So we allowed ourselves to not stay married to that name and allowed the new energy, the new intelligence to come through. And we've landed on an even newer name for now. We're trying it on.
Yeah. And we did not go to, oh my God, what will everybody think? We already told everybody it was going to be called the energy effect. Oh no, we can't go in and, we'll look like flaky or we'll look like whatever. That didn't even come into our conversation. It was like, yeah, let's do a podcast about that. Let's bring that in. And so we went from energetics, because we didn't realize that was, what's the word? Trademarked. And then into the energy effect. And we spoke about that, and we both enjoyed that. And now we tried that on, we felt it out, and then boom, another one came through, and it's the frequency effect. And so, that's what we've landed on. And it feels really strong for both of us. Mm-hmm. And like I said, how many people, Veronica, would have been like, no, that's embarrassing. I already told everybody it was going to be this. I can't change it again. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, right? And so again, the willingness to, whatever other people are going to think about that is none of our business. I think it's great. I think that it's great to say, yeah, we tried that on. It wasn't it. We tried it on, and that bra didn't fit. Nothing happened when I put the salt on the liver. I didn't like it anymore. Tried it, didn't like it. And it wasn't that we didn't like it. Just something else came through, the frequency effect, and it feels really good.
It feels really good, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're the name girl.
For some things. Do not ask me to name your child, because
Be Candy Clockerston.
No, Candy Kloosterman.
Candy Kloosterman.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, that was me.
So where in your life are you holding on to something so rigidly that you could use this as a shift to just try something on? Try on, something new in your social life. Try on something new. You look at people who are committing to turning their health around, committing to going to the gym, committing to a new diet. And it's like, this is the diet, this is the gym I'm going to go to. And it is like, this is the one. And they go all in instead of approaching it with the ease of, okay, well, maybe I'll try this, or I'll try that, or I'll try this, or I'll try that. It's like they've decided before they've even lifted a weight that this is going to be the one thing that saves them. And then it doesn't work out for whatever reason. And then there's self-deprecation because it didn't work out. But it's like all that pressure we put on it is a cause for it to not allow the energy to come through. There's frequency that's communicating with us, that's directing us. And when we can stay in the lightness of, let me try this on, let me try that on, let me experiment, let me be curious, when we can stay in that lightness, the frequency can come in and it can guide us, and it can say, go here and go there. But once we've decided, this is it, this is the workout, this is the gym, this is the meal plan, this is the healing modality, then it's like, well, there's nowhere for the frequency to come in and guide us.
Right. I love how you brought that in. Yeah. Like you said, when you say yes, the universe goes, okay, we've got a player. Cool. Let's show her this. Let's show them that. And so all the little nuances can show up. So when we do get the hit, then we still want to stay open to the nuances. And so for me, I love that. So this is what's popping for me to share is, and we don't always have to tell the world that we're trying something on, right? We can, but we don't have to. So accountability is great. I do a lot of accountability with myself. Again, when I'm doing an experiment, when I'm trying something on, it's for me. It's for me, right? And so, for example, when I quit smoking, right? I used to smoke cigarettes. When I quit smoking, I didn't tell anybody I was going to quit. I think I might have told my mom. I'm not sure. So the reason I didn't tell anybody was because I didn't want to hear about it later if I wasn't able to do it. So that's how I tweaked it to work for me. So I decided, you know what, this is for me. I don't have to tell anybody. I'm just going to try it on. I'm going to experiment. And then a month later, my mom couldn't stand it anymore. She told my kids, I was living with my kids. They were nagging me. They were little. They were nagging me all the time about me smoking cigarettes, right? And so when I quit, they didn't even notice because they had a fixed pattern of me. So they didn't see me outside of the fixed pattern that they had created for me. And my mom was like, have they said anything yet? No. Have they noticed yet? No. And then when my mom told them, she couldn't stand it anymore. She told them that I had quit smoking and they didn't believe her. So I tried it on, but I chose to not make an announcement about it because I didn't want the pressure. I didn't want the stress of maybe if I tried it on and it didn't work for me, I didn't want the stress of whatever would have created of disappointing them or whatever it was. And so in that situation, that's why I didn't tell anyone, because I didn't want to carry the stress and the burden of disappointing my sons. So I didn't tell them. Right. And then there was another one where I wasn't able to speak to groups, basically not even in the large group of my own family. I couldn't do it. And so anything that limits me, I do not like that control. If I can't speak in front of groups, that's a limitation. So instead of just owning, I can't speak in front of groups, and never speaking in front of groups, I went, oh, that's a thing, right? And so it was, and so I decided, okay. So I went and signed up for a stage act where I was going to be performing in front of audiences. Literally, I had this thing where I did not like to be seen. It was really uncomfortable for me. When I was in high school, my doctor gave me a note to pass my teachers where they weren't allowed to say, you know how they would do roll call in my day, and the teacher would say, Kim Coleman, and you had to say present or here. I couldn't even do that because I couldn't handle the attention. Did not like the attention. So I had a note I would take to my doctors, and that from my doctor to take to my teachers, said they wouldn't put me under that. So as I got older, I went, okay, that's a limitation, not happening. So that's what I did. I signed up for this movement and thing on stage, and I performed on stage, but I didn't tell anybody I knew. I didn't tell. It was more comfortable for me, for whatever reason, to not have any witnesses in that. Now, there's other things where we do want to be witnessed, right? For those, I was not comfortable being witnessed, especially the on stage. I wasn't comfortable with somebody I knew being in the audience. Funny, right? And so it was still part of an invisibility thing for me, but it was the baby step I took. It was how I could make it work for me to do it with nobody watching that I knew, because then I wouldn't give a poop, because I'd probably never see any of those people again if I messed it up and it was horrible. And I did mess it up and it became part of the show. My mess up became part of the show, right? So, yeah. And so again, it is about what is it, maybe it's not going to look like how it does for everybody. And there are things where we want to be witnessed. I was being witnessed by an audience, but not by anybody that I knew. And that's how I chose to do it, because that's what was comfortable for me. You got to find your own way, your own style, right?
That's such a great example. I love that. And yeah, I try things on in my marriage all the time where I'm like, okay, that conversation didn't go well. And so I don't announce that I'm changing my approach, but I find a new approach. And I'm like, I'm going to
Right.
try this approach and let me see. And it's like, oh, I get a different response there. Interesting. Okay.
I love
Maybe I'll use
it.
that approach going forward, but I'm not declaring it to anybody.
Right.
So,
100%. 100%. You know what?
yeah.
The main witness is ourselves. Really.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? Our awareness of how we're behaving, misbehaving, how we're showing up. I'm my own witness. And yeah, and is it great to be witnessed by others with a lot of things? Absolutely. Excuse me. And there can be accountability by having witnesses too, right? So it's going to be different for everybody with probably everything that we're looking at trying on. Like, does this one, what's this one? And just kind of play with it, make it your own style. By making it our own style, that's where our own exquisiteness can show up and will show up, because now it's
Yeah.
exquisite. Yeah. Okay, so we are
Exquisite.
now. Yeah, I know. I love that. We are now. Yeah. I don't know, how many episodes do we have in? This is our first one under this name.
Yes, this is number 66. 67. This is 67.
Cool. So the frequency effect. 67.
Frequency
Ooh,
effect.
that's, what does that number add up to? 6 plus 13.
13.
Lucky 13. There we go. All right. So are we
Thank
good?
you so much, everyone. We're good. Appreciate the conversation. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening or watching. And if you think this conversation can benefit anyone you know, please, we would love the shares. That helps us grow. The likes, the subscribes, the comments. You can reach out at any time for questions, thoughts, ideas, and we would be honored to connect with you. And as we have shared, we do have a 3-on-1, 2-on-1, a 3-way offer that we do called Unstoppable, which is a 3-month experience that you can choose to join Kim and I with. It's quite incredible. So you're able to find all the information on any of the podcast descriptions. So feel free to reach out if you have questions about that as well.
I love that, because I've heard you say that to people. Group work is great and joining group programs is great, and then there's that one-on-one stuff. So it's for people who are looking for more that one-on-one / 2-in-1.
2-on-1, yeah. Awesome. So much
Awesome.
love. Until next time.
Next time.